It's 2 a.m. You're not stressed about anything specific. There's no emergency, no deadline tomorrow. But your brain won't stop. It's replaying a conversation from 3 days ago. It's building a problem that doesn't exist yet. It's asking questions it already knows the answers to, and then asking them again. You tell yourself, just stop thinking about it. And somehow that makes it worse. If this sounds familiar, this video is for you. Because here's what almost nobody tells you. The reason you can't stop overthinking is not a character flaw, it's not weakness, it's not anxiety disorder. It's your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. Just doing it at the wrong time in the wrong situation about things that don't actually need solving at 2 a.m. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to explain exactly what's happening inside your brain when this occurs, and 3 specific things you can do to interrupt it. Not just breathe, not think positive, actual mechanisms that actually work. Here's what's happening. Deep in your brain, there's a structure called the amygdala. Think of it as your brain's alarm system. Its only job is to scan for threats. And when it finds one, real or imagined, it fires. Now, here's the part that matters. The amygdala cannot tell the difference between a lion chasing you through a forest and a message you sent that hasn't been replied to. To your alarm system, uncertainty is a threat. Unresolved questions are a threat. What-if scenarios that have never happened are a threat. So it's designed to do. It keeps you thinking. It keeps you scanning. It keeps you awake. Because in a world where real dangers existed, a sleeping, distracted brain was a dead brain. The problem is that you don't live in that world anymore. But your amygdala hasn't gotten the update. Here's the cruelest part of overthinking. The more you try to suppress a thought, the stronger it gets. There's a famous experiment by psychologist Daniel Wegner. He told people, don't think about a white bear. And of course, all they could think about was the white bear. Psychologists call this ironic process theory. When you tell your brain not to think about something, it has to actively monitor for that thought, which means it's constantly checking. Am I thinking about it? Am I thinking about it now? What about now? And every check is another activation. Every attempt to suppress is another cycle. This is why willpower alone doesn't work here. You cannot outthink overthinking. You have to work with the brain, not against it. But here's what actually helps. 3 things, simple to understand, counterintuitive enough that most people haven't tried them. The first technique comes from neuroscience research at UCLA, led by Dr. Matthew Lieberman. And it sounds almost too simple. When you are spiraling, instead of trying to stop the thought, you label it. Not, I'm anxious. More specific than that. I'm having the thought that I said the wrong thing in that meeting. I'm having the feeling that something bad is about to happen. I notice that I'm replaying that conversation again. You're not analyzing the thought. You're not solving it. You're just naming what's happening. Like a scientist observing a specimen, not a person trapped inside it. What Lieberman's research found is that this simple act of labeling reduces activity in the amygdala. It literally quiets the alarm. Because the act of naming shifts processing from the reactive emotional part of your brain to the prefrontal cortex, the part that can reason, evaluate, and regulate. You can do this anywhere. You don't need to meditate. You don't need to write it down. Just notice the thought, name what type it is. That's a worry about the future. That's a self-critical thought. That's me predicting rejection. And then, importantly, let it pass without engaging. You're not agreeing with the thought. You're not dismissing it. You're just watching it move through, the way you'd watch a cloud move across a sky without needing to do anything about it. The second technique sounds strange, almost backwards. Instead of trying to stop worrying, you make a dedicated appointment for it. This is called scheduled worry time, and it has solid research behind it. including a 2011 study published in Behavior Research and Therapy that found it significantly reduced both the frequency and intensity. Here's how it works. Pick a 15 to 20-minute window each day. Same time, same place. Somewhere neutral. Not your bed, not right before sleep. During that window, worry freely. Write it down. Think it through. Let it run. And when worrying thoughts show up outside that window, which they will, you don't suppress them. You just say, "Not now. I'll deal with you at 4 p.m. And here's what makes this work. Your brain's threat detection system is partly running because it's afraid you'll forget the thing that needs worrying about. When you give worry a scheduled container, you're essentially telling your amygdala, "I see you. I'm not ignoring you. We'll handle it. Just not right now." And over time, the alarm fires less urgently because it's learned. There is a time for this. It doesn't need to interrupt everything. Most people who try this expect it to feel weird and not work. Most of them report that within a week, they're catching themselves mid-spiral and actually being able to redirect. Not because they've conquered their anxiety, but because they've given it a proper place to exist. The third fix is the one that trips most people up, because it doesn't start with your thoughts at all. When your amygdala fires, it doesn't just create anxious thoughts, it creates a physical state. Heart rate up, breathing shallower, muscles subtly tense, nervous system on alert. And here's the thing, that physical state feeds the thoughts. An anxious body produces anxious thoughts. An anxious body makes the same situation look more threatening, more unresolvable, more overwhelming than it actually is. So trying to calm your mind while your body is still in threat response is like trying to fall asleep while standing in front of an open freezer. The environment isn't set for it. What works instead is coming through the body first. The most direct route is your breath. There's a nerve in your body called the vagus nerve that runs from your brainstem down through your chest and stomach. When you exhale slowly, longer than your inhale, it activates this nerve and sends a direct signal to your nervous system. We are safe. Stand down. You don't need a special technique. Just breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 1. Out for 6 or 8. Do that 3 times. Not to clear your mind, not to stop thinking, because once the body stops signaling danger, the thoughts naturally lose some of their urgency. You can also try what's called grounding, pressing your feet flat on the floor, noticing 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch. Again, not magic, just a way of pulling your nervous system back into the present moment and out of the imagined future where all the overthinking lives. So to bring this together, your brain overthinks because it was built to detect threats, and it cannot tell the difference between real danger and an unanswered text. Telling it to stop doesn't work because suppression amplifies. What does work? Name the thought without fighting it. Give worry its own scheduled time. Calm the body before you try to calm the mind. None of these are instant fixes, but they work with your brain's actual wiring instead of against it. And if there's one thing I want you to take from this, your brain is not broken. It's doing something very human, very old, and very understandable. It just needs a different kind of help than the one you've been trying to give it. If this was useful, the next video goes deeper into what happens when overthinking becomes a pattern, and why some people seem to get stuck in it more than others. It's linked at the end of this video. Take care of yourself.